Hi, everyone. Today we're here with Maria Perez, the head of our Houston division of BK Real Estate. So, Maria, what got you into real estate and what was going on in your life during the time when you decided to become a realtor?
Let's see. So I am prior military, 12 and a half years in that service.
Okay.
Single mom. I was working as a teacher at a high school because I wanted to be with my kids. And then COVID hit in 2020. So, of course, nobody was working. And I was on Facebook and there was an ad for, they needed an assistant to help with property management, but it was all virtual.
Okay.
Um, and so I applied, got interviewed, and I got the job. They what they needed was basically because I spoke his Spanish, they wanted someone that can speak to their
That's
tenants.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah, predominantly their tenants were Hispanic, so I would take all the calls or all the messages. And as we stayed on, COVID hit for a while. I did it full time, and then when we went back to school, I did it part time. Then they asked me to manage their Airbnbs, and I did that. That was a lot of fun. And then I was like just thinking about real estate. I'm like, why don't I start selling
Mm,
houses? This would be fun, and I can do property management as well.
yeah.
So I decided to start studying. It was 2022 when I purchased the course. But then a lot happened for me in my life. I lost a friend to COVID. Then my best friend's daughter was murdered.
Sorry to hear that. Yeah.
Then my grandmother passed away, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm never going to finish this. But eventually I finished the course in 2022, and then I took my test in March. Um, I tried to stay with the property management company because I wanted to do both. They started giving me properties to manage, multiplexes, and I didn't mind, but they were a lot of work.
Wow.
But then within the first 30 days, one of my tenants that she was about to renew her lease won $5 million dollars off of a $50 scratch off
Ooh.
ticket. Yes. And so me not thinking, she was like, I want to buy a house. I want to buy a house. And it didn't dawn on me. I'm like, wait, you can help her.
Yeah.
And so I offered and she said, absolutely. And at the time, the brokerage had just gotten the MLS for Corpus Christi.
Hmm.
So we went down the following weekend. She gave me her criteria, and I had 7 houses lined up for her. And the third one was the one. And we made a cash offer. Obviously, she wanted to
Okay.
pay cash. So yeah, that's how I got my first sale. And I was like, by the time I drove back, after closing a month later, I was like, man, I like this. I like
Yeah.
this cash. A couple months later, I'm going to say September, I had an Airbnb tenant who came to San Antonio to purchase. And so he called me. I had just had foot surgery 3 days prior. And he's like, hey, do you know a realtor? I was like, I am. He's like, we want to purchase.
Yeah.
And so I called one of my friends and I got on my little knee scooter, went to his house, and we talked, him and his wife. And that's how, I mean, even on my knee scooter, she would drive me around and we were looking at houses. And then we closed on Halloween. And
Okay.
I wasn't happy with that brokerage because they wouldn't let me be what I wanted, or let me do what I wanted to do, which was sell and do property management. So I found BK through an old friend who's no longer with the brokerage, but it's the best decision I ever made.
That's good. I guess, how did real estate change your life in a sense of the, the calm that you saw in doing real estate?
The autonomy,
Okay.
of course, the money and the flexibility
Yeah.
that I can
Flexibility is big.
do
Yeah.
that I can do this right, and that I could still do property management, but I get to choose what properties I want to
That's
manage.
right.
So the ones I was managing before, always needed a lot of work, and
Mm.
that's why they kept me working pretty much all day. Now I do it, and
Yeah.
they're not houses that need a lot of work. So.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, how long have you been in real estate and what are the hardest obstacles that you have run into and how did you get around it? Yeah.
Um, so March of this year will be 3 years.
Okay.
The hardest obstacles, if I'm being fully transparent, has just been my mental health. I've had some issues that it's kind of held me back at times where I just don't want to do anything. I lost my youngest sister last year.
Sorry.
which was really, really hard. So it took me a minute to pick myself back up. I was still doing what I was supposed to be doing, but to a minimum, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So if I had a client that I was already working with, I would make those calls and show those houses, but I wasn't trying to do any more.
Yeah.
Then I sat down one day and I'm looking at a picture of my sister, and I could just see her looking at me and saying the B word because
Hmm.
we're from Jersey. So she would have like, B, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You need to get your butt up and start working.
Okay.
And so I did. Then I lost a client 2 months later that I was showing houses to. And I'm like, okay, I don't think this is going to be for me.
Yeah.
But again, my sister came in my head, and, I just started working, and it's about being consistent. It's
Hmm.
about being, having a routine that got me back into doing this. So it's not an easy task, especially if you've always been a W-2 employee.
That's right. Yeah.
Now you have to do the work if you want to do something with it.
Okay. Well, if you could train a new agent, what is something that you can tell them to help them build their business, or, to coach them in this industry?
Well, lucky enough, I do that. That's part of being a division leader.
Yeah.
Luckily, now we have two more mentors, but when I moved out here in May, that was also my job. It was
Mhm.
to be a mentor. And it's not easy because you want to make sure that these people, whoever you get, they have to want
That's
this.
right.
This is not a W-2 job, it's your own business. So the first thing that I teach them is time management, learn how to time block, learn how to use your CRM, and then follow up. Once you start making phone calls, make sure you're following up because you can't
Hmm.
call somebody today and then call them 3 days later and expect them to really be like, oh, you're so nice, I'm going to go with you. So time management, phone calls, and follow up, and then learn something.
Hmm.
In real estate, that's why we have to take all these CE courses,
That's
right?
right.
We have to always learn. BK has training online. As a division leader, I like to set up classes every
Yeah.
now and then, either at the title company or someone like yourself, right? I want to teach creative financing so that they can learn because
Hmm.
in this job, things are changing. No two transaction is ever
The
the same.
same.
Even if you're
Hmm.
working with the same client on a buy and a sell, the transactions are going to be so, so different. So education is important.
That's good. I mean, I think in this industry, we all know that we just get thrown out there.
Hmm.
So without the proper mentorship, a lot of people get lost.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of people also get into this industry thinking that, oh, yeah, I heard a friend making a lot of money. They're closing a lot of deals,
Hmm.
especially during COVID. But one thing that they don't know is really if you don't have someone to mentor you,
Hmm.
you really just get thrown out there.
Yeah, and that's
Right.
honestly
Yeah.
that's every job.
That's right. Yeah.
Even in the military, right? When I was in the Air Force, and I got to my first duty station in Italy, they sat these 5 volumes and they
Mhm.
put it on my desk and they said, "You need to learn this. When you have questions, let us know, but make sure you didn't find it in the book before you come talk to
That's
us."
yeah.
There's no hand holding.
Yeah.
You also have to want this. That's the
Hmm.
difference in mentorship, right? Because some people think that mentorship means, oh, they're going to tell me exactly what I have to do.
That's right.
No, I'm not going to tell you exactly. I'm going to give you the resources that I know will help you
Hmm.
because what works for me is not going to work for you.
That's right.
So you can't sit there and be like, okay, Maria said, do this, do this, do this, and then stay at home twiddling your thumbs and wait for me to call you. No,
Yeah.
no. After I gave you that, then you need to say, hey, Maria, I went here and I learned this. Could you tell me a little bit more about it? Or, hey, Maria, I'd like to learn more about this. Then let's go for it. But I don't hold anyone's hands because no one
That's
held
good.
mine. So
Yeah, I mean that's good. When you give them the resources, they need to be able to figure out
absolutely
to ask the right questions,
correct.
right? Because you go through something, and then from there, there's things that okay, I looked at my resources, but I still don't understand because it could be a little bit more complicated than just the resource
Than
that was
just it.
given, right?
Exactly. And we have
So
there's so many things out there that you can look it up. I'm sure you've seen in our group me, people ask questions. sometimes I just leave them on red.
Yeah,
I'm like, they'll figure it out. And
that's
then
right.
next thing you know, they're like, oh, never mind, I found it because they did the
That's
research.
good.
So,
Yeah. And you brought up basically BK does and classes, and you teach people as well. Um, why should, aside from all of that, why should people or realtors use BK or buyers use BK, right? And for the realtors itself, who would thrive in the BK atmosphere,
in the
right?
atmosphere.
Yeah.
So, what I absolutely love about BK is our culture, right? I love that we all help out each other because, like you said, when we start this job, we're just thrown out there. But in BK, if you haven't noticed already, in just the group me chats, when somebody has a question, there's always somebody there to answer. You don't feel alone. Within the division, I like to get everybody together at least once a month if we can, or once a quarter. I always say we're not going to talk real estate, but in real estate, you're always going to talk about real estate, and it always is starts with me. Hey, how was that open house? Hey, how, and they're like, you said no real estate. And training, right? Brittany, it's Brittany Kosiv. That's why it's BK Real Estate. She was a librarian, so she's all about education and reading, and she shares that with us. And although all the meetings are optional, they're there so that you can learn. It's another resource. So if you're not attending any of the meetings just because they're not mandatory, then
Yeah.
you're not furthering your education. You're not learning, and then you're not going to want to they're not going to want to work with you because you don't know.
That's right.
And then you're sitting there asking, oh, I don't know how to do a contract, or I don't know how to talk to a buyer or a seller.
Yeah.
So our culture and our education are the two biggest things that BK has, and I carry that here in Houston. I've been fortunate that I built what we currently have, and hopefully, if I leave one day or something and someone takes over, that they continue that, because I love the culture that we have here.
No, I mean, I can personally say with, just what I believe it's been 3, maybe even 4 months of being part of BK, that it's been an amazing experience. And the culture that we have is something that is most agents are looking for, right? And the freedom that we have in BK as far as what we can do
Yes.
in the services that we can provide, it definitely expands everything.
Yes, and
Right.
it's not just basic real estate, because Brittany is very investment heavy. She's an investor herself, and she wants us not only to learn it to help our clients, but for us, she wants us to build that generational wealth. So she cares about us too. It's not just about going and getting buyers and sellers so that we can make money. It's so that
Yeah.
you can do that for yourself. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
No, I mean, that was huge for me too. Even though I knew that, especially after meeting with you, that you said, yeah, oh, it's okay to do creative finance on top of everything else. I think for myself, and maybe not so much Kenny at the time, but like I was kind of still walking on eggshells just because I don't know. But after getting to know you, after getting to know Brittany, after more meetups, it started to click that we are all on the same page and we're all trying to achieve the same thing.
The same thing.
And now, like you said, educating as many of our team members
Absolutely.
to be able to know more so we can provide more solutions. Because at the
Absolutely.
end of the day, there's always going to be a problem. It's just that what
How do you
can we
solve
provide?
it?
Yeah,
And what
and
do you know? What did you learn? What out of the resources that you were provided?
correct.
And you're going to be like, oh, I remember they had that class. And the other good thing is that every course that Brittany teaches, they're recorded. So
Yeah.
you can go back
Always
in
go
our
back.
portal
Yeah.
and look it up so that you have, honestly, there's just no excuse for you not to thrive, except if you say, well, I like a brick and mortar. I don't like online.
Yeah.
That's about it. But honestly, just being online and having your own autonomy, as long as you make your schedule, as long as you're doing what you're prospecting, you don't need a brick and mortar. That should be your house. It's tax deductible, right? So use your house.
Okay, so let's talk more about you and how you take care of your clients, right? So if you're dealing with someone that's okay, well, we're just not quite ready yet,
Mhm.
right? How do you educate them and add value to eventually, you know,
Win them over.
win them over and be able to help them out in a sense that, hey, there's nothing to fear,
Mhm. So I
right?
have a couple of those which we're buying this year.
Okay.
A lot of them are that I've been helping in the last couple of years have been my former students, which I love. But first, we find out what is it that they're scared of,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because this is going to be probably the most expensive transaction in their life,
That's right.
unless they're buying a G wagon or Ferrari, something like that.
Yeah.
But a house is the biggest purchase, and so we want to figure out what is it that's scaring you. Is it the down payment? Is it you're not going to be able to afford a lot of house? So what I do is I set them up with my partner lender, and she does a soft pull,
Mhm.
and she just goes over everything with them and lets them know, hey, if you pay off this credit card or this debt or whatever is on the credit, because I don't know what it is, we can increase your value for your home
Mhm.
on what you can afford. She lets them know, or hey, you're going to need probably another 6,000 based off of what you make for a good down payment, even with down payment assistance. Okay, so now they have a plan that they have to save a little bit of money for closing costs,
Mhm.
if anything. And then, of course, I continue to follow up. When I know that they want to look at houses, they're not completely ready. I just set them up on a drip and I let them see houses like every other week, whatever comes out
Okay.
new on the MLS, since my website is IDX feed, so they can see everything live. And it starts getting them excited.
Yeah.
And then they keep on track. And then when my lender says, hey, we're ready, then we go out there. But definitely communication and
Mhm.
consistency is key. Don't just assume that because you gave them all this information and they're getting ready, if you don't follow up with them, that they don't remember that you were the one who was helping them at first and they end up with somebody else. So you got to make sure that you stay on top of it.
Okay.
Hmm.
Now, with all of that in mind, right?
Hmm.
Now that it's 2026, I
Hmm.
think we have talked about your goals for 2026.
Hmm.
Now, go ahead and share to everyone that's going to follow you and that's following you
Hmm.
about your goal and what you're going to do in order to help your clients for your new goal.
So one of my new goals is to step into the luxury
Okay.
field. I've already shown houses in the $1 million range,
Hmm.
just not what they were looking for. I have one actually this Friday. We're gonna
Oh,
go
congrats.
look at 1.5 million dollar homes, but I've done 700, 800, close to $900,000. I've done those, but I kind of want to step up my level now.
Okay.
It's not just about the money. Um, I feel that I'm ready. I took the course, and I like that level. I like
Hmm.
to dress up. I like to wear my heels to go look at these
Yeah.
houses. And these are special people. These are people that are spending a lot of money, and you got to treat them a little different. But I know with my background, my culture, that I can help them. So I look forward to that goal. And I know that it's going to happen. 2026 is going to be an amazing year.
Okay. Well, for me, I don't quite like wearing heels.
I hope not.
I'm more of a shorts and running shoes kind of guy when I'm showing houses.
Well, I can't wear heels for too long, but I do like to dress up and stuff. So
So for your buyers that are currently in the house right now, that
mhm,
are potentially or eventually going to upgrade
mhm,
in $1 million
mhm.
homes, how different is being in a certain price point, like under 700,000 to now going up above 800, where you have to get a jumbo loan, right? How different is that for them, so that way they can start preparing for it?
Well, that in that aspect, I can't speak of because I haven't gotten there. The two that
Hmm.
I've helped them, they're going straight cash.
Okay. Whew.
Yes. I have one, it's a 1031 exchange.
Okay.
He's got a marina in Florida that it was under contract and it fell. But he has up to $3 million.
Okay.
And then the one that I have now, he's got the money. he sent me a screenshot because I was like, "Well, you need a pre-approval." He said, "Girl, I got the money." I
I'll
was
show you
like,
my bank account.
"Okay, sir, whatever you say. You let me know when you want to go look at these houses." So we're
Yeah.
going on Friday.
Okay. Well, again, congratulations on that.
Thank
So,
you.
for anyone that wants to use Maria as their realtor, where can they find you and how can they reach you? And we'll
So
put that here
yeah.
somewhere.
So I have two phone numbers. I have 210-931-5029 for my San Antonio people, 346-572-6097 for my Houston people. You can find me on Facebook as Maria I. Perez, the realtor, or on Instagram the same way. One of them uses my full name, Maria Isabel Perez. The other one uses the initial, but you'll find me.
Okay. So, she also speaks Spanish, if you couldn't tell from the way she rolled her R's. So, if you're a Spanish speaker,
Yes.
ready home buyers or not ready home buyers, Maria is here to assist you guys in whatever price point y'all are looking for. And she has been a great help, not only to me, but to all the other agents. So she's very knowledgeable. And well, we just want to thank you for coming here. And,
Absolutely.
we look forward to what 2026 has for you. I know it's going to be great.
It is.
And don't forget to follow her. All of her information will be somewhere here
Yes.
in this camera.
Oh,
So,
yeah, I have a website too. It's
yeah.
chomesforsalesanantonio.com.
Okay.
You can see our houses there. So
There you go. Well, thank you again. And we
you're
look
welcome.
forward to having you again
Thank
soon.
you for having me.
All right.
Adios.